Hello everyone and welcome to LEGO Star Wars Hot Takes episode 16. As always, if you have any hot takes or controversial opinions about LEGO Star Wars that you want me to discuss in next week's video, make sure to go ahead and leave them in the comments below. But without further ado, hopping right into it, starting off with Seth Young. He says, hot take, almost no LEGO minifigures should get capes. Sure, it works for characters like Vader and Malgus, but Palpatine, Anakin, Obi-Wan, they all just wear robes that look nothing like capes. The 2022 Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan figure really sort of opened my eyes to this. It makes more sense and looks better for the robes to be printed. And I actually agree with you. I think unless the character wears a cape in the source material, I don't think they should be included in the set. As like you said, the printed robes just look so much better. And on top of that, it seems like the capes just always seem to get in the way. I mean, obviously this is fine if the character actually wears a cape like Darth Vader. However, for characters that don't wear capes, it's just frustrating because it does feel a little bit unnecessary to me at least. And I just think that when LEGO is trying to recreate a robe on a character, they should just print it. FF Gaming says, hot take, LEGO needs to stop putting downscaled vehicles in large sets. Sometimes it works like the Slave One and Betrayal on Cloud City, but most of the time it doesn't. Take the Y-Wing in the Yavin 4 set for example. It looks okay in this set, but terrible with full-size ships like Luke's X-Wing. And man, I 100% agree with you. I have never liked the downscaled ships in large sets, and honestly, I probably dislike them a lot more than you do. And I mean, really the only reason I have for not liking them is just because it annoys me that they're undersized. I mean, I get the goal is to make them like fit in the set for playability and all that, but it's always just frustrated me. I just don't like undersized and inaccurate vehicles. You gave examples like the Slave One in the Cloud City and then the Y-Wing in Yavin 4, and those are all great examples that I 100% agree with. But for me, there's even more that annoy me. One that has always annoyed me even since I was a little kid is the downsized Darth Vader's TIE Fighter in the 2008 Death Star. I mean, like I said, even as a kid, when I was like 6 years old looking at this set, I was always just repulsed by the fact that it included that weird little downsized Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. But I do have to say, I was kind of strange as a kid because I always liked the sets that were way more accurate rather than for playability. So even when I was 6 and 7 years old, the 2008 massive Death Star never appealed to me at all. The one that always appealed to me was the UCS Death Star 2. And honestly, that's because, well, for me at least, you can't have playability without accuracy. Because the reason I love LEGO Star Wars and the reason I played with them as a kid is because I wanted to be able to recreate the scenes that I was playing with. However, when you're a kid that pays attention to detail in movies, when you're playing with Legos, you can't really recreate those scenes from the movies to their fullest extent without the set being accurate. But anyways, that was kind of a rabbit hole. Back to the actual downsized ships in large sets. Again, I get what it's trying to do for kids. I mean, add some playability, but when I was a kid, I honestly never liked it. And honestly, I do agree with you. I would prefer if LEGO would stop doing that because it wastes pieces and it bumps up the price. Actually, I'm going to contradict myself right here. There was one time where I actually think it was acceptable and cool, and that is with the Phantom 2 with the newest Ghost because I just think they look so good together. However, off the top of my head, that is the only time where I have actually liked and think it was acceptable for LEGO to include a downsized ship. Mario Valise, I'm not sure if I said your name right. However, he says, hot take, a lot of older collectors seem to feel privileged when it comes to what should be in playsets. The term only the best is good enough is meant for kids getting the most play value. And honestly, in a way, this kind of goes with what I just talked about. And when I'm talking about this, I really am referring to when I was a kid. I have no idea how you guys were as a kid or really about kids today. However, when I was little and played with Legos, accuracy and playability really corresponded with each other. So I mean, when a kid watches Star Wars and then they want to recreate the scene, well, first of all, you have to have everything that's in the scene so they can really play with it and recreate it. However, you also have to have the accuracy and the details so they can really make that mental connection of what they saw on the movie with what they see in their set. Again, I really am speaking for myself. When I was a kid, I honestly might be yapping right now to some of you guys. However, I really think that detail matters strongly for playability. And now when you talk about older collectors feeling privileged, I think I know exactly who you're referring to. You just didn't want to say his name. And I mean, yeah, people like that can be a little too whiny sometimes, but I'm also not going to say that I myself haven't complained or whined about Legos inaccuracies before. And as annoying as the complaining is and can be for you guys, it really is validated because there were times when LEGO Star Wars sets were basically perfect. And if you collected in those times and you still collect in these times and you see the fall off and you see how the quality and accuracy has downgraded, you're going to be upset. I mean, take 2014 for example, all of the clone troopers were absolutely perfect. I mean, the printing, the helmets, everything. But now we got problems like the helmet holes on normal troopers when they should only be on clone captains and commanders. And we also have inaccurate 212 troopers when they were absolutely flawless in 2014. And we also got really ugly name clone troopers like the newest Commander Fox. So I mean, on the face, you can see that us adult collectors are just whining about kids' toys. However, first of all, it's a lot more than a toy, as I would say the fan base is largely growing to be more adult than kids. And there was a time when LEGO was really good, and watching watching them fall off just makes us upset, and it also makes us frustrated that they refuse to go back to what they used to do. Mr. Funny says, hot take, the headless AT-AT isn't as bad as everyone says. It's actually kinda accurate to the scene, plus it has really good figs. The real worst set is Darth Vader vs Obi-Wan, which is literally just a giant gray plate with mid figs. Then man oh man, I've agreed with the other ones, but I disagree with this one a lot. First of all, you are right, it actually is very accurate to the scene, because in the scene, well, there's just a headless AT-ST with BB-8 on top, and I really don't think there's many people that dislike this set because it's inaccurate. I think the main reason that a lot of people, or me at least, dislike it is because it was just a terrible scene to make a set off of. I mean, it really was just a waste of a spot for the lineup of sets from 2018, even though there were a lot of bad sets that year. It really was just such a strange concept and a strange scene to base a whole entire set off of. Although I do have to say, this set could have been 10 times better if they did include the head of the AT-ST and have some type of play feature where the head can pop off and you can have BB-8 on the inside. That would have been awesome for a collector standpoint that wants an accurate first order AT-ST, and very awesome for a kid with the amount of playability that would add. And then talking about the Darth Vader vs Obi-Wan set, I don't think that set is as bad as you say. I mean, yes, it is just a great play, but there's also a lot of really cool functionalities in there, like where you can dump the lava all over it and you can like spin the circles around to make them fight each other. And also, you said the figures were mid. I kind of disagree with that too, because obviously you get the arm printed Vader, but you also get Ned B, which is a really cool looking figure. But I mean, still, this set isn't really anything to write home about, but I don't think it should be compared to the first order AT-ST. Vinny Sott says, hot take, 2023 was the best year for LEGO Star Wars since 2014 to 2015. Now, I have been thinking about this one, and I'm honestly not really sure how I feel, because on paper, I would say that the lineup of sets from this year, 2023, would compete with the years since 2015. However, if you look in the detail past the lineup, I mean, obviously there's a lot of flaws and a lot of controversy. For instance, all the things with the clone troopers and then the undersized sets and all of that. So yes, the lineup of sets on paper definitely does compete with the lineup of sets since 2015. However, I wouldn't say the quality of the sets does as much. And I know that really in between 2015 to like 2022 was considered like sort of the dark age of LEGO Star Wars. Well, not really that whole gap, more like 2017 and 2018. However, there were a few underrated years in there, most notably 2016 and 2019, because with 2016 we got the Rogue One sets, obviously, which is an incredible lineup, and then we have 2019, which I think was a very underrated year, because we got the Master Builders Tantive 4, and we also got the 20th anniversary sets, along with a really cool AT-AP Walker, and then the Droid Gunship, and then obviously the UCS Star Destroyer, which I do think is the best UCS set ever made. So like I said, on paper, the lineup of sets from 2023 does make it look like the best year since 2015. However, the execution and the quality of the sets kind of makes it compete with years like 2019 and 2016. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode. As always, if you have any hot takes or controversial opinions about LEGO Star Wars, make sure to go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.